Okay, so in this quick video, I'm going to demonstrate a type of dynamic shading technique that I use for creating objects, both props and characters, for using CrazyTalk Animator. So basically, here's how I'm going to do it. I'm going to start off by just kind of drawing an object that I can use to demonstrate. So in this case, I'm just going to paint a trash can. Nothing too fancy or overly complicated. I just want to have like the use of certain geometry, like these little dents in the trash can that we'll use for creating shading. So this will allow me to use a variety of, well, a couple of different techniques as a demonstration tool. So the main thing I want to do now is like, okay, that's my trash can. No big deal, right? Let's put a little handle on this lid here. Okay. Now it's a trash can. So let's go ahead and paint it, okay? And the idea behind this is that we'll paint this trash can. Let's actually use something other than gray. So there's our base color right there. There's nothing else we have to do to it. So the next thing we have to do is, like, for the shading itself, we have to think in terms of separate layers, okay? So what I'm going to do actually is I'm going to sample, well, not sample, but I'm going to make a direct copy of the painted texture on this trash can. I'm going to copy it and I'm going to paste it on a completely separate layer. Paste in place. That way I have my actual paint stuff. Okay? So what I can do here is I can go in and just kind of mark out the areas that are going to contain my cell shading. So in this case, this trash can, it's going to go like this. Maybe go down here. Okay, and that's probably going to be my cell shaded areas of the trash can, which I can now fill in using maybe the color black. Okay. Boom, boom, boom. All right. And I'm not too concerned about this section here. Alright, so I got that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the alpha channel, or the alpha value of that paint to maybe a 10%. So when I see it as an overlay, I can see that, you know, there's, well, let's turn this off for a minute. Let's go ahead and get rid of this, these colors that no longer are required. Let's clean that up. And on that second layer, I'm going to paste in place so you can see where the cell shading is. So now that creates a sort of lighting effect, okay? It gives it a little bit of definition. And I can do the same thing for my highlights if I wanted to. I can use the color white at a very low alpha level and paint with that. Okay, that might be a little too low because I can't see it. So let's increase it a bit. It's still too low. Let's bring it up to maybe 60, 70. All right, that's a little bit more manageable. Let's go ahead and put it on 50, and I think that might do it. Okay, that 50 kind of, you know, it kind of does it. It might, it could probably be a little bit lighter on that section, but we'll use that value for now. So I'll apply this highlight to the places that I think could use some highlighted areas. Okay. Alright, well that seems to kind of get the job done right there. Use some eraser to just kind of erase some sections of it right there. Alright, that's good enough for my needs right now. I think I will work with that. So that takes care of like cell shaded, okay? Now, in some cases you might want to use gradients, okay? So I'm going to go use a combination of both in this example. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new layer, and you don't always mix these two techniques together. This is totally like just for demonstration purposes. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take any color really. Let me use a shade of red for now, so we can see what we're doing. And I'm just going to mark out the regions that are going to have this gradient texture. Okay. So I'm going to apply it right there. Alright, let me just close these gaps. Okay, so now what we do is we're going to take our black color. We're just going to fill this in. So now we have a nice little solid color. We can get rid of all the other stuff that we don't need, just to get it cleaned out. All we need is these three shapes. So now we're going to do what we're going to do is we're going to mix up a gradient color. And let's see here. Well, actually, I have a black color here. And this black color, I'm going to go ahead and actually I'm going to leave it at 100%. That way it'll give me plenty of room to work with. And I'm going to create another copy of this. And depending on the software that you're using, you might have different ways of creating gradients. So in this case, I'm creating a gradient that goes from black to black, except that it goes from 100% to 0%. That way I get a full gradient of the black shade. And I'm going to go ahead and paint with that. Okay, I guess depending on how I do this, I'll get different results. In Flash, I can actually sample gradients and do all sorts of fancy stuff with it. I can also use the transform tool to further adjust my gradient. So if you're working in Illustrator or Photoshop or something else, you might have a different approaches as to how you do this. So there you go. So I basically created like a shadow that kind of gradually comes out that way, like that. And this is kind of like, okay, this is the kind of technique that you would use if you're creating like pillars or things of that nature, just to give a little bit of depth. And I can like do multiple layers of the same shading technique and stuff, but this should be enough to get the point across. And I'm going to go ahead and just go ahead and export this this prop item. So I'm going to export movie, trash can, and we're going to switch over to CrazyTalk. Now in CrazyTalk, I'm just going to use the drag and drop method to get this prop into the software. So it was a pretty good transfer so far. There's our prop. So now what we do is we apply our render style. So we'll go into, since this is a prop, we'll go into the prop composer, and we'll select our item and go into the vector grouping tool. And here we're going to look for our primary color, which is our base color here. All these other ones we don't really need to mess with. You can if you want to, but ideally you just want to leave them alone because they're created at a grayscale, which means that regardless of what color you change the bottom color to, these will just kind of blend in. So, you know, might as well just leave them the way they are. So we'll start clicking around. I have my select same color enabled. So right now it's got the outlines selected, That's not what we're looking for. Just keep looking until we find our base color, which is that one right there. So now that our base color is selected, let's see. Yep, our base color is selected. Notice that the actual shading itself doesn't change, and that's cool because it's transparent. It's just kind of blending in with whatever color is underneath it. So let's go ahead and just apply it to any group that we want. For example, custom one. We'll hit apply, and we'll go back to our main stage. Now, we don't apply any vector styles to the other ones. You can if you want. They should be able to retain their transparency, and you would do that in the event that you want to create what's, I think it's called Ambient Occlusion or like refraction. I don't know, one of those fancy 3D terms that mean reflecting the light in its environment. I don't know what the word is I'm looking for, but in this case we're not doing that. So we're just leaving it alone, and we can go into our render style panel, and we select our base color here, and we can just change it to whatever color we want now, and the shading will remain intact. So this is how you would create like different pillars and objects, and even like dips and like crevices and stuff, and like skin and like props and all sorts of stuff, where you can change the color of the item, but the shading itself remains dynamically joined or linked to whatever color you choose. So here we have a purple trash can. Now we have like a yellowish trash can, and here's a green one, and the shading just kind of adapts itself to whatever color is underneath it. So hopefully this gives you some ideas on your own stuff, and if you have any questions or comments, just let me know. All right, enjoy.